McLaren's featured where they want to be either. Piastri on a hot lap here. McLaren, their 1000th Grand Prix in 60 years since Bruce McLaren drove for his team here in Monaco in 1966. Piastri crosses the line only 5th fastest behind Hülkenberg, Hamilton, Norris and Leclerc. From last year, Martin, if you did have to back off and abandon a lap, you'd probably have to go round again to top up your battery. You don't have to do that this year.
Yeah, absolutely, because there's unlike the previous races we've seen this season, keeping your battery full is pretty easy around here because it tends to happen in slow corners and under braking, and that pretty much sums up the entire lap.
8 braking zones, 2 of which are described as heavy, short straights in between them, lots of slow corners. And if you this year. Fastest, and Ocon will be next to cross the line. Here he is, stays 11th. Bottas and Albon, Stroll and Perez, Alonso and Colapinto at one stage was 4th quickest and now finds himself down in the bottom 6. Things start to evolve rather quickly here.
Yeah, the timing goes around like a fruit machine, doesn't it? And just spinning round and round and round as they all find some grip and some confidence and a decent lap and no traffic. And that's what we're going to see right until the very end of each of these 3 sessions.
Only 15th for Alex Albon as he finishes his latest lap. And Lewis Hamilton starting his next flying lap. Lots and lots of laps for each car here as they're fueled and won. And we're on board with Kimi Antonelli, who was about 3/10 faster than anyone else in final practice.
You have to give it absolutely full lock to get around there in a Formula 1 car, the hairpin. And you sometimes, well, we used to change the steering ratio to help you get around that hairpin, and sometimes have to take a hand off the steering wheel to get enough, crank enough lock on because you haven't got any elbow space in the cockpit.
It just looks so awkward getting into that chicane, but that wasn't a bad line at all from Kimi Antonelli. Round to back. A bit unstable as he tries to get the power down. They are flat through the swimming pool entrance. They are lessening their speed through the swimming pool exit. They're going past our commentary box before they get to Rascasse, and Lewis Hamilton has just gone quickest through the middle part of the lap. Beautiful exit from Anthony Noge, the man who created the Monaco Grand Prix and who the last corner is named after. Antonelli, though, lost time in that final sector, only 3rd fastest for him. George Russell is improving and needs to. He's down in the bottom 6 at the moment. Hamilton replaces Antonelli as that 3rd fastest. It's Lando Norris behind Charles Leclerc currently. Norris, last year's pole sitter, of course, where he won from and really energised his championship charge, his successful championship charge, as George Russell only goes 10th fastest.
Yeah, you've got to to be comfortable. You've got to be in the 1:13s in this first phase of qualifying to get through to Q2, and that's only 4 drivers at the moment. That must have been up against the barrier for Antonelli. Yeah. We did see that move, didn't we, when we were on the overhead camera, the slide.
And that is where George Russell lost time into Mirabeau Watt. improved somewhat. His current best time of a 1:14.6 is good enough for 7th fastest. The cut-off might be about a 1:14.3, 1:14.2 maybe. Hajar stays 7th fastest. Lando Norris on the charge once again.
So you get a transition where into the normal brakes, as it were, that you'd have on most road cars anyway. And I think that's catching the drivers out from time to time. Looks like a transition where
21 on the track. Bottas has come in for a change of tyres. Maybe that looks steadier for Norris through to back. He's fastest and watched on by the engineers on the pit wall, but not by their team principal Fred Vasseur, who we send best wishes to as he recovers from a little medical problem that he had yesterday, not at the racetrack today, and receiving treatment here in Monaco. Norris stays 2nd fastest. Fred, get well soon. Franco Colapinto goes 14th fastest, and Charles Leclerc now going through the final corner, I would imagine, to stretch the gap out in front, and does so by another couple of tenths.
Yeah, they're really coming to them now, isn't it, this racetrack? And Antonelli's flying along too, fastest man in the first sector, second sector coming up soon. And where was he?
He's there. He's going so fast they couldn't pick him up. He's lost time in the middle sector though.
Yeah, that's because we couldn't see him. Confirming what a cracking lap that was from Charles.
Max Verstappen will be right there come the end of this qualifying, and in shape to make for pace in comparison to his teammate and those around him in the championship table. 14.8 is his best time, and he might finish this lap about a second off. It is about a second behind Charles.
If it was Q2, I'd say he's in major problem. Lose 6 drivers, but as you say, George Russell struggling for a good clean lap right on the pace.
It wasn't George Russell's race last year. Started 14th on the Grand Prix. Different story this time around for him. George with his struggles out there as we watch the 2 Ferraris on, and then we cut to the people on the yachts. Nice. Bernie, down to you.
Yeah, I was just going to come in quickly, Crofty. The difference between Antonelli and Russell. It seems like Russell's losing time, particularly in the corners in the first sector, and then losing a lot of time through the early swimming pool section, 13, 14. So
go. Verstappen and Hadjar are back in the pits again. Kimi Antonelli's been shown a black and white flag for failing to follow race director's instructions. The assumption there is he's gone a bit too slow around the lap. There's a certain time they have to adhere to. He might just have gone a bit too slow.
Black and white flag, that's your final warning. Yeah. So that means they've seen several incidents of that. Yeah, needs to be careful with that one.
There are a lot of lap times being deleted as drivers go off the track to keep out of the way. And there's a lot of drivers trying to keep out of the way and doing their very best. And we've got a yellow flag now out on the track towards the end of the lap. It's for Gabriel Bortoleto at the Nouvelle chicane, and he has stopped right on that chicane. Bottas crosses the line, still in the bottom 6, and that is Gabriel Bortoleto up against the barriers. So I would imagine that is going to be either the session ending under yellow flags, or they might red flag it.
I think they'll have to red flag it.
They have.
And they will restart it unless it's under 70 seconds.
Which it's not.
Will absolutely. They will. What have we got? 131 seconds. They will restart it.
Gabriel Bortoleto stranded there. 2 minutes and 11 seconds to go. This is really bad news if you are Ollie Behrman and Carlos Sainz in that bottom 6 at the moment, and probably not expecting to be in that bottom 6. Let's see what happened. Oh, he clipped the barrier on the entrance.
Yeah, clipped that inside. Very easy to do. You almost aim for it, to be honest. He was slightly unsighted by the car ahead of him, but a broken track into the barriers.
There was Carlos Sainz right behind him coming through, thinking, oh no, this slowest cars currently. Bottas and then Sainz, Behrman and then Perez. Now they are all going to need to get to the head of the queue in the pit lane to get a lap in to the checkered flag and then start it, or to the line I should say, and start it before the checkered flag to try and improve their position. Zach Brown is watching on from the McLaren pit wall. Your drivers are 4th and 7th, Zach. I'm sure you'd like a bit more pace, but you should be safe from there, I'd have thought, for Q2.
Should be. I think it'll be difficult for everyone to get a lap in with how much time is left. But we're discussing now. I think Lando's definitely safe. Oscar, we're discussing.
Yeah, it seems that's the most competitive I think I've seen you look, really, with Lando up there in 4th at the moment, Zach, so far this event.
Yeah, I think we've been clawing away at it every day, every session, and this is the most encouraging it's been. Still a decent gap, but we're closing it.
And what have you had to do between FP3 and qualifying? What changes have you made on the car, if any?
We definitely made changes. We tried a lot of aero development this morning, so we ultimately landed on what we felt would make the drivers most comfortable. So I think we've landed in a good place with what we have.
Thanks ever so much, Zach. We'll be back with you in a bit. Gabriel Bortoleto then causing this red flag. He's currently 14th fastest through to Q2, but he won't be taking part in that session. He finished 14th in last year's race after starting 16th on the grid. Carlos Sainz looking now for a hand to beckon him out of the garage and down the pit lane. And the cars can't move from the garages until the teams are given a resumption time. There it comes in 3.5 minutes. The blankets are off and out they come. Cadillac Perez ahead of Bottas. 4:22 in the afternoon, that's when they're going to get the resumption. We'll show you, hopefully in a moment.
Anywhere near your peak performance of you and your car, you cannot really improve with this sort of one banzai lap without full preparation of tyres and brakes and what have you, as we've seen going on. But if you're away, like say Ollie Behrman down there in 18th, if you've not yet anywhere near your potential, then he might be able to pull something out of the bag. We'll keep an eye on it.
Right, we're looking down on the boats. Bernie Collins is looking at the queue at the end of the pit.
Crofty, and I was just trying to have a look there who's won and benefited. The two Haas have gone out, as you said, the two Cadillacs as well, but the one driver who I can see that I think has been caught out that is in the drop zone is Franco Colapinto. He's still in the slow lane, can't quite get his front tyre wedged in between the two Williams. Then there's the two Williams together, and then the Aston Martin. So Franco Colapinto, I think, is the one that's missing out at this stage.
Could well be struggling, and I'm not sure Alex Albon will be in the mood to let him through, given that Albon's teammate Carlos Sainz is currently in that drop zone. And Albon himself, 9th fastest at the moment, should be safe.
Yeah, I think Albon was far enough ahead of him, but the drivers behind Albon will be, like they're going around high.
Bortoletto, past all the boats, where the parties are in full swing, but where his party has come to rather an abrupt end, and he'll get a ripple of a session will resume in 1 minute and 20 seconds time. This is the sort of thing that happens in Monaco. You have your plan, you have your run plan, Martin. You're expecting to get another couple of laps in with 2 and a bit minutes to go, and then you get a yellow or a red flag, and it just ruins everything.
There's a Hadjar there, also wanting to get out, and 14.4. He's probably safe, isn't he? He's probably safe.
The ones that will be desperate to get out there, along with the bottom 6, Esteban Ocon, obviously Arvid Lindblad, who's down there, Colapinto, who might be at risk, Lawson and Gasly, Hadjar potentially. He's 1:14.4 for Isaac Hadjar in 10th.
And of course, the irony at the moment, Bortoletto is through, isn't he?
Yes.
But he's out.
Right, here we go.
He does get in. Light.
Would you have let him through?
No chance. But then I didn't used to play paddle with all the other drivers or to have a WhatsApp group. It's a different world. And
right.
And good for them.
Okay, here we go then. The light is green, and we can... It's a race start, so you can take your time, and you'll want to stagger things a little bit so that you've got a nice gap on the track, so that you're not going to be held up too much. And I think if you're not out of the pit lane with 1 minute 30 on the clock, you're in trouble for getting a lap in.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you can see if you're absolutely flat out, it's 74 seconds, probably 75 for most of these. And that is what they've got to think about as they head round. They should. Hadjar. 13 cars on the track.
Yeah, top 6 decided to stay in the garage. Oscar Piastri has come out onto the track, and that is the Racing Bulls of Liam Lawson that is stranded at the end of the pit lane, or he's decided there's no point going out, push me back into the garage, and waiting for people to come and get him. Lewis Hamilton's not going or so, and it's going to be Sergio Perez to lead them round the first corner and to start his final flying lap. Now, what we saw in final practice after Behrman's crash towards the end today was that the track didn't necessarily keep on ramping up after a delay and after no cars had been on it for 10 minutes.
Absolutely. Perez had a big lock-up. This is the high view. They had a big lock-up going into the first corner. Casino Square. Gully on the inside of that right-hander. This is where you need every bit of steering lock you can muster and nibble a bit of the pavement on the right-hand side through Portier. Let it go through the tunnel. Your eyes adjust quite quickly. There's lots of lights in there now. Then you burst into the sunshine. It's tighter in that tunnel than you'd ever imagine, and something has gone wrong. No, it's the end of the session, of course. So over the line then, didn't quite make it.
No, Colapinto did not make it. He could well be at risk here because the checkered flag had come out before he got to the line. So let's carry on with Bottas, who did improve in his first sector. Fernando Alonso matched it. Sainz was a 10th ahead. Behrman was 2 tenths ahead. Ocon was a 19.8 as well. And that really wasn't quick enough in the first part of the lap. They're trying to get out of the bottom 6 as Valtteri Bottas slides his Cadillac around the final couple of corners. Behrman just outside the time he needs to get out of the bottom 6. Bottas crosses the line, stays 20th. He's out of qualifying. Stroll didn't leave the pits, so he's out of qualifying. Perez has pitted. He's out of qualifying too. We're on board with Ollie Behrman trying to shove the car go-kart style to the line, stays 18th. He's out of qualifying. Sainz has improved in the middle sector. A man who scored in all 10 of his Monaco Grand Prix that he's taken part in. Can he get into Q2? Yes, he can. 10th fastest for Carlos Sainz. Great effort from him. Pushes Esteban Ocon into the bottom 6 and out.
Wow, well done, Carlos Sainz, for somehow pulling a lap out of the bag there. He was another one of those drivers that was nowhere near his potential up until that point, but made it stick in what would be very, very challenging conditions.
Ollie Behrman, it was go-kart style. He was almost like, you know, encouraging, like he was maybe on a horseback or something. Derby day today, but he was trying to do a bit of derby riding here in Monaco. Got very close to the barrier to back. That cost him time as well through the swimming pool. And Behrman is out. Only P19 for him. Also out, that man, Fernando Alonso, P21. His teammate Lance Stroll behind him. Valtteri Bottas, Sergio Perez and Esteban.
Real-time data is vital to avoid issues.
Weather band holding offshore.
Instantly.
Timing recovered, all green.
Deliver proactive IT with TeamViewer 1. Fix it before they feel it.
With Amex, do summer differently. Feel every moment. Center court. And losing your voice. And because with Amex, you can unlock more access, more rewards, and more unforgettable moments at iconic summer events.
With Whoop, sleep and recovery, and see how your daily habits connect to how you feel. With real-time insights, personalized guidance, 14-day battery life, and routines built around what works for you, you can make informed choices that support your well-being and add more life to your years. Join Whoop.
You might want to go for your usual. What I say, mix it up. 2 flavors, 2 right. Just get the Raspberry Sprite Zero. Now at McCafe.
Just keep watching.
Yeah, unfortunately that's P18. Unlucky with that yellow.
Man, we're so lucky.
Yeah, sorry Ollie.
Oh guys, I gave it everything on the lap, I'm sorry. We needed more, man.
P17 Science flipped us.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Yeah, some unhappy drivers there, and this is the reason that they were under such pressure at the end, because of Bortoleto hitting the barrier at the Nouvelle Chicane. And I wonder if he was just lapse a bit of concentration, because this car going straight on there makes him turn in a bit too early, makes contact with the barrier on that left-hand side. He's not the first one that's done this. We've seen many drivers in the past make this kind of error and breaks the front steering arm, and that is his session done. Ironically, makes it through. His time makes it through, but it put all the other drivers who weren't through under pressure to get it done. And poor old Ollie Behrman, who we just heard from, was one of those drivers fighting his car through Casino on the exit, the rear getting away from him, and obviously he missed out on a lot of the FP3 running as well. So he was, all the drivers, he is the one that needed the most track time here, and understeer through this corner, before Portier, and through Portier itself, really struggling just to find. Oh, look at that. Wow, that. I didn't realise he had actually had that moment. So I'm just going to play that back in slow motion for you, because that was so close. Just the car unsettled. And through Portier itself, really struggling just to find. Oh, look at that. Wow, that. I didn't realise he had actually had that moment. So I'm just going to play that back in slow motion for you, because that was so close. Just the car unsettled.
The headrests and also the hands device around to protect your neck. You can't turn your head. You can't look out the side of the car. You can't turn your head. You can't look out the side of the car.
There was no contact. Stewards think that it's absolutely fine to carry on, and I'm glad they do. So Liam Lawson and Sainz, Colapinto, Verstappen all in the 1 minute 20s. Who's going faster? Charles Leclerc out on track currently as he makes his way down towards the final corner.
Yeah, some of most of the mechanics.
Leclerc with a 1:18.8 is the target time to beat. Max towards Raskas. Such a slow corner. You've got to be so patient, but he was, and he is, and he's on the power now, charging down the main straight. While he does that, Leclerc's going in faster through the first sector. Verstappen into the 1:13s. That's 2/10 up on his best time from Q1.
Yeah, that's a decent find, but you're really now wanting to start looking at late 12s. I'd have thought, oh, it's so close to the barriers, isn't it? Charles Leclerc there, right up against it, because you want to open this corner up. Car looks quite stable there. Man of speed they take into the swimming pool exit. Break in a straight line and then get the car turned around somehow. The front always slides across. The track falls away from you there, and that's why the back end steps out. And it's still quite a long banana of a straight to get to the line, and that's what we're expecting into the 12s.
Yep, a 1:12.9 for Charles Leclerc. His teammate Lewis Hamilton just a 1/10.5 back. Ferrari first and second fastest, with Max Verstappen currently P3. Make that P4 as Oscar Piastri pops up an impressive time just on the fringes of those 1 minute 12s, and Isaac Hadjar goes fourth fastest ahead of his teammate Max Verstappen. Lando Norris meanwhile going fastest in the middle sector and going quickest overall by 9 1/1000ths from Charles Leclerc.
Welcome to the show, McLaren.
Yay!
Sandbagging or what? That's really so almost unexpected, I think, even by them.
It's not quite taken them 1,000 Grand Prix to reach the sharp end, but it is the weekend that they celebrate the 1,000th Grand Prix. And Kimi Antonelli has now decided he's going to go fastest himself. It's all chopping and changing out there, and I dare say it will continue to do so. Pole last year, by the way, was a 1:09.9 from Lando Norris, the first lap ever in Monaco underneath 70 seconds. We've lost a lot of downforce for this year. I don't think we'll be going under 70 seconds. At this rate, though, we might just be in the 1:12.4s by the time we get to pole.
Yeah, that'd be impressive. And Max is going for it now. A lot of understeer going into the hairpin. And as that cost him, you've got to try not to make that up. Otherwise, you'll go too fast into the chicane that's coming up at the end of this tunnel. If you just overdrive it, trying to make anything back, you've got to draw a line under that and just do your best for the rest of the lap. And Max knows that far better than most as he goes into Tobac corner, or tobacconist, as the great Graham Hill used to call it. And car just as the great Graham Hill used to call it. And car just exit of Anthony No's corner, over the line he goes, and that is P2.
P2 for Max Verstappen. Last time out in Canada, first podium of the season, and just behind by 6/100ths of a second, Kimi Antonelli, the man, of course, who won last time out in Canada from the front row, his first win that wasn't from pole position. Liam Lawson goes 9th fastest, pops his racing balls into that top 10. Carlos Sainz is there, Nico Hülkenberg's 11th. We know he likes an 11th place on the grid. Can he go one better and get into Q3 for the first time this season as Lindblad goes P14?
Those rather distracting arrows are to tell you somebody's coming out of the pit lane, if you're wondering.
Distracting, but very useful, I would have thought, because the racing line feeds you right into where someone is coming out onto the track. Lando Norris, a couple of tenths down to 2/3 of the lap. George Russell has now got his best first sector of this session. He's still 2/10 in that first part of the lap of the best sector time of all, so it's another uphill climb for him as Norris stays P3 and crosses the line. Charles Leclerc now down P4, Oscar Piastri P5, and Lewis Hamilton back out along with Oscar Piastri in P6. Nico Hülkenberg's been noted for failing to follow race director's instructions. Could be another one who wasn't quite matching the minimum or the maximum slowest time that you can have when you're not on a flying lap. Here comes George Russell then, never started in the top 3 here in Monaco, only 8th fastest for George Russell when he crosses the line.
Missing 0.6 to Antonelli, but we've got Ferrari 4th and 6th at the moment, and we were expecting them to be 1 and 2. We've not got to the final part of qualifying yet, but they've got probably more competition on their hands than they might have expected.
Yeah, and this on the weekend, George Russell really wanted to celebrate as well. His 158th Grand Prix start equals another famous driver from Kings Lynn in Formula One.
Must be the school milk or something, mustn't it, from West Norfolk.
They build them fast in that part of the world, Martin Brundle. Charles Leclerc crosses the line second to Kimi Antonelli by 7/100ths of a second. Wowzers. This is going to be close for pole a little bit later on. We've got 5.5 minutes to go here. George Russell so far not looking like a driver we're going to see going for pole. Where's he losing his time?
Oh, he had an oversteer again, didn't he, in the middle of that corner? I suspect, you know, when a car slides like that on the entrance to the swimming pool, your confidence just ebbs away, and you start not to trust the car.
Lewis Hamilton, a 19.3 for the first sector, at 0.3 off, and that's it's getting to the stage now where you wonder if he's still on a preparation lap with a 19.3. He's not. He's on a flying lap, but he's a couple of tenths off the pace. He's not finding extra pace out there currently. Under 5 minutes to go. The bottom 6, Gabriel Bortoleto taking no part in this Q2 session after breaking his suspension in that incident at the Nouvelle Chicane. Franco Colapinto and Arvid Lindblad. Lewis aborts that lap. Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz for a Williams team. They haven't reached Q3 this season. Sainz was in SQ3 in Montreal though.
Lewis wants some front wing. I thought this session might be all about keeping up with the Hamiltons, but it's he's struggling to keep up. But brand new set of tyres and a twist of front wing, and Lewis goes again.
Right, Piastri through the first sector was a 19.2. So 0.2 is a lot to make up if you lose that during the first part of the lap. We saw Max Verstappen do that a few years ago to pit Fernando Alonso to pole. An amazing session where Max trimmed off a couple of tenths in the final part of the lap. This is a much better middle sector from Piastri though.
Yeah, Oscar's very much come alive, hasn't he, in terms of this Q2 session. Final corner, then you can see how the track drops away, but then the car just grips up and off you go down the pit, not straight, and over the line he goes. It's a 13.0 that keeps him in P5. Birdie over the line he goes. It's a 13.0 that keeps him in P5. Birdie, what can you tell us?
Yeah, I was just going to give a quick update on the difference between Antonelli and Russell again. It's 2 corners for me where Russell loses the most time. First one being turn 5 on Antonelli, and then he carries out the whole way to turn 15. So there's a good 0.3 just in that sort of.
Yeah, that's where we saw him sliding. Just remind us how you know that, Bernie.
Yeah, so how I know that is I'm looking at, actually for this race, not GPS, because it's very poor around here. I am looking at the V-car data from each of the cars on the pit wall, and that is giving me accurate information as to where one car is up or down. So V-car being the car speed, what speed they're doing through each corner.
Thank you.
And that's why we stick Bernie on the pit wall for this qualifying session as Colapinto goes 12th fastest. Gasly, his teammate, gets into the top 10. Super lap there from Pierre Gasly to go 9th fastest overall. He might be a second off the pace. Can he stay in that top 10? That would be a result for Alpine here. Flavio Briatore watching on from the garage. It's all very close though, on the fringes of that top 10 with 2 minutes to go. And Liam Lawson, personal best through the first sector, but a 19.4, needs to extract a little bit more pace if he can. The man from New Zealand, 7th in Canada, equaling his best Grand Prix result of the season.
Good front end through the seafront chicane there. He was able to change direction, really hug the apex curbs as he heads then into Rascasse. So easy to clout your wheels on the inside or the outside barrier there. Picking up the throttle nice and early. Will this be enough to keep Liam Lawson well inside the top 10? It certainly moves him up to P9.
If the projected time is a 1:13.3, a knockout time, plus or minus a couple of tenths, he's on the cusp, Liam Lawson, and he's got another couple of laps potentially to try and go a little bit faster. He might be able to get to the line before the checkered flag, depending on what the traffic's like when he gets to Raskas. And there's a whole bunch of drivers that are building up to start their final lap.
So George with a 19.3 second first sector, that's 4/10 off the pace,
which has been set by Max Verstappen with an 18.9 in the first part of the lap. Best sector time in that opening part of the lap that we have seen. Russell gets to Raskas. There's the Alpine just keeping out of the way in time. Antonelli is absolutely flying, whilst his teammate is just trying to inch up maybe into the top 6. Russell crosses the line, stays 8th fastest with a 1:13.2. Russell is right on the cusp here. The man who's second in the championship leader, Kimi Antonelli, 1:12.7 is out in front.
Yeah, that's twice he's done a 12.7 now, Antonelli, but Verstappen then smashes that by 0.2 of a second. That's a lot around here. And you're right, George Russell really struggling, really under pressure.
So Liam Lawson has now pitted. That's his qualifying over. Will he come back out again in Q3? We'll see in a moment. Sainz crosses the line, stays in the elimination zone. P11 just on the fringes, but missing out. Alex Albon is also missing out. Both Williams are there or thereabouts, but not quite, keeping Gasly and Lawson in that top 10 as Hadjar goes 3rd fastest in the Red Bull. Excellent effort from him on that lap. Arvid Lindblad, personal best in the first sector, not in the middle part of the lap. He's got some time to make up to try and get out of that bottom 5. Dare say they've done their sums on the other side of the garage, which is why they pitted Lawson. Lindblad stays in P15, and one by one, the challenge is coming, but it ain't coming to dispose Gasly or Lawson in that top 10.
We have F1 fans, we have a new contender, Red Bull here for pole position this afternoon. That's extraordinary.
That is a Max Verstappen lap right there.
Fully backed up by Hadjar as well, you have to say.
Some tyre preparation, brake preparation, making sure things are warm enough to get the maximum grip into Sandoval, and the brakes that are doing their job properly could be one thing, but you've got to take driver skill into account as well. And Max Verstappen is very much the man for that, looking for his 200th points finish in Grand Prix racing this weekend. This is Alex Albon over the curb. Ooh, and really clouting the curb there.
Yeah, he had to, that was emergency stations there momentarily.
He is out of his qualifying.
He's clumped the inside barrier, that's pushed him wide. He's now going to fly over the curb instead of ride over the curb. And that pushes him to the outside of the track, and well saved.
Q2 is over. Bortoleto, Lindblad, Colapinto, Hulkenberg, Sainz and Albon making way, leaving 10 to go for pole here in Monaco. Verstappen fastest on track so far.
Audi sponsors Formula One on Sky Sports. sponsors Formula One on Sky Sports.
The fact.
Tudor, born to dare.
Let's keep watching.
Welcome back to Monaco.
Sorry.
Okay. It's still not a bad quality.
Well, neither Williams have been higher than 13th on the grid for a Grand Prix this season. P12 for Carlos Sainz, best quality of the season for Albon, P11. Two McLarens, Zach Brown through then into the top 10. And now it gets serious here in Monaco, right?
Certainly does. That was a interesting finish to Q2. Let's see what Q3 brings here. I think we're kind of around where we thought we might be, but now everyone's got to get a good clean lap in.
Zach, is it a case, and I know it's a risk to do this in Monaco, that if you're the last car over the line, you get the best track conditions, and that might be the difference between one row and a couple of rows further back?
Yep, but of course that also comes with the highest risk if someone has a problem in front of you. But yeah, I mean, looking at that last session, other than Max's lap time, you've got a couple tenths that cover, 5, 6, 7 cars. So I cover, 5, 6, 7 cars. So I think it's going to be very tight. A little surprised George is as far off as he is, but I suspect he'll get it together for this session.
Zach, there's a big casino at the top of the hill, my friend. Place for a gamble, right?
Exactly. When in Monaco.
Love it. Thanks, Zach. Let's go to the Skypad. Anthony Davidson.
Yeah, thanks, Crofty. I'm just really querying where this is going wrong for George Russell. So I've got him teed up here on the way into turn 1, and just watch on the exit, just loses the rear ever so slightly and just fighting the back end of that Mercedes all the way up the hill through Beau Rivage, flat out here, and then Massenet again a little bit tentative now on the turning because he probably doesn't trust the rear of the car so much based on what happened in turn 1, and then down towards turn 5 he doesn't quite know when to turn in and how to trust the car. In the hairpin itself, the turn in and mid-corner flow looks okay, but I just thought I'd compare it to Antonelli in the same corner down into Mirabeau, and he just seems much more confident to turn in properly and get the car to rotate and again into the hairpin. So that, I'm seeing a little bit of difference in just driver confidence really in what they've got under them. So yeah, I'll throw it back to you, but I just thought that was quite interesting. I'm sure many people are questioning where those small differences are coming from. Nothing major, it's just, yeah, it all adds up one corner to the next.
Confidence is such a key part, especially here.
Yeah, I mean, to see the back end step out on him through the 140 mile an hour swimming pool entrance, that would give any driver a bit of a wobble, to be honest. So I think he's whether he can just get rid of a little bit of front wing, there's not too much you can do. They're in parc fermé conditions now, so you're limited to what you can change on the steering wheel, or some front wing angle, some tyre pressure, but actually you're going to be running the minimum that Pirelli will allow you anyway.
Lando Norris then out onto the track. He qualified in the top 3 of a Grand Prix for the first time this season, last time out in Canada. Charles Leclerc, pole sitter in 3 of the last 5 Monaco Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton a man who has triumphed here in Monaco and has taken pole as well on a couple of occasions, 2015 and 2019, the last time that Mercedes got pole here, as George Russell leads out the two Silver Arrows and Kimi Antonelli, the youngest ever championship leader, behind him, stalking him, and it potentially stretching his advantage this weekend, the way things are looking.
You're watching the 12 most important minutes of this weekend about to unfold. This is it. This is where the big guns come out and they start hanging on the line a little bit. They have to.
Well, as I said at the top, Martin, the last time a driver at the front of the grid failed to lead lap one here, 2002, David Coulthard, when he took the lead from Juan Pablo Montoya at Saint-Devote. The leader on lap one, by the way, in 2026 has come from the second row at every Grand Prix so far this season.
So the McLaren hitting the deck a little bit under braking there of Oscar Piastri. And I've noticed they're starting to run these cars lower and stiffer as the season's unfolding. That's how it looks to me out on track and just watching on TV as well. We see them looking quite stiff, where we perhaps expect them to fly a little bit more of a rake angle and a little bit higher compared to the ground effect cars that were smashing the spines of the drivers for 4 or 5 seasons.
All 10 drivers out on track, all on brand new soft tyres, except Liam Lawson and Pierre Gasly, I would imagine. They've only got one new set of soft tyres left in their allocation. Chances are they'll leave that for their final runs in qualifying. Norris for the 19.5 for the first sector. He is on the flying lap already. Kimi Antonelli just starting his. They're still building up here. It's a couple of preparation laps before they can really go for it.
Yeah, 19.5 first sector though for Lando. That's nowhere near good enough, is it? And 18.9 is what you're looking at.
So it's just build it up that little bit more and just keep the tension on before we can really see the drivers putting their cars and their talents through their paces. Just to remind you, no one has won Monaco in the dry from outside the top 3 on the grid since 1985. A top 3 position absolutely essential here, and maybe with Ferrari's fast starts they can make a place up on the line tomorrow. 19.0 for Piastri in the first sector. He's on a flying lap.
Yeah, they are now. So it's the first time I've seen McLaren drivers look confident enough that the track's obviously coming to them nicely and fine-tuning it, to see a McLaren driver feeling comfortable throwing the car around a little bit, letting it move.
Charles Leclerc still building it up. Lando Norris a 10th off his teammate through the first sector. Quite a bit of curb taken there by Oscar Piastri through the first part of the swimming pool chicane. He'll have felt that one in his fillings, if indeed he has any. 34.2 for the middle part of the lap. Not bad at all. That was good. Although twitchy on the exit from Piastri. He's pushing hard. The car right behind him is Max Verstappen, who's on a
bit leery
preparation
there.
lap. That was a bit leery, wasn't it? Piastri to the line then. He's got steadily further back down the grid in the last few years. A 1:12.9 from him. Norris a 1:12.7. Piastri front row here 2 years ago, third on the grid last time out. All of that a bit irrelevant in terms of who's going to be on the front row this year, because Antonelli just put in an 18.9 for the first sector. He's flying again.
Yeah, and Lewis carried a lot of speed into some of these corners. We're on board with him then for Rascasse. Keep it left and go over the little hill. Boom, give it full beans and just keep flicking up through the gears and see what it does for him. And it's a 12.5, 4/10 quicker than Q2. Lewis right back in the game.
And others behind going nicely and very nicely in terms of Antonelli and Verstappen. George Russell, meanwhile, where can he finish? Third fastest, so he's ahead of Piastri, ahead of Leclerc, who's done a lap and then pitted, but not ahead of his teammate, Kimi Antonelli. A 1:12.3 from him puts him on provisional pole. Oh, Max Verstappen getting all out of shape. at the Rascasse corner. That will have cost him time, and he was on a par with Antonelli up until that moment. Verstappen crosses the line. He is 1/1000th of a second slower. That's the provisional front row. Antonelli and Verstappen, as Hadjar now crosses the line and goes P6.
There's a faster lap in there for Max Verstappen. We know that because he had to turn back out of Rascasse corner momentarily. Would have cost him a fraction or two. So Lewis Hamilton has got a black and white flag, final warning for not following race director's instructions. Again, that's about slow laps out. They tend to all get put away as not a problem, don't they? So, yes.
But a warning is a warning, a black and white flag, one more strike and you're out.
Final warning, yeah.
And Kimi Antonelli's got one from earlier in Q1. This is Charles Leclerc through an oversteer moment through Massenet. That would be why he pitted early at the end of that lap. The pressure's on Charles Leclerc here. He's going to get one chance, Martin, and one chance only, unless they can squeeze in 2 laps.
He's lucky that was a little tap against the wall there for Oscar Piastri. Then we saw him getting, he's a bit too trigger happy on the throttle there. I mean, he does it again, doesn't he, on the exit? So the left rear, the tyres are getting too hot at the back. That's what's going on there.
I was about to say, Lewis Hamilton suffering the same problem. He's reported on the radio, rears are getting too hot. You think after 2 miles that the rears wouldn't be overheating too much. It's only 2 miles, but you're putting so much stress through the tyres.
Yeah, and well over 1,000 horsepower as well. A lot of torque, a lot of twisting energy from the engine. So, Mercedes are 1 and 5. Ferrari are 3 and 10 at the moment. Charles Leclerc is lucky to have another set of tyres and another run, because that could so easily have been a crash into the barriers up there, and he's out already.
Charles Leclerc, 3 Monaco poles. Only 5 other drivers have 4 or more Monaco poles. He's trying to join a group of Senna, Fangio, Clark, Stewart and Prost at his home track. He's got it all to do. Bernie Collins, down to you in the pit wall.
Yeah, and it's good positioning, isn't it, for Charles Leclerc there? He'll be fit to do his out lap as he wants. They're all doing a prep lap. He should be fit to do that again as he wishes, and still have time for that final flying lap. It is an early run, so he does risk traffic on that flying lap, with other people potentially doing their preparation lap during that time. So there's a bit of a risk from that, but they're thinking better to get the lap on the board and avoid any potential yellow or red flags at the end of the session, which all too often happen here.
Yeah, there is 1 car on the track, Charles Leclerc, so this is obviously a strategy they want to do, and if he can get around through turns 12 and 19, he might just miss all that traffic burn, potential traffic burn he's talking about there, because he'll have a second lap absolutely clear. Monaco, all to yourself in a works Ferrari. How wonderful.
He doesn't own the place, but it is very much his place. And as he's coming out along the main straight, he's got Gasly, he's got Lawson and Piastri coming out of the pits. 2 of those cars are ahead of him as he starts what could be a flying lap. Kim Kardashian watching on, listening to her partner Lewis Hamilton, I'm sure on the team radio, or the instructions that are being given to him as she looks down on the pit lane. Hamilton will be making his way out of the garage in a moment. His teammate Charles Leclerc is on a flying lap, Martin.
He is, and we haven't seen all that much of it, but he's about 3/10 shy in the first sector of the fastest. But we know that Charles had a few adventures, didn't he, on his first lap? That's why he's down there in 10th place. But he knows how to get around here. But I tell you what, it's going to have to be 2 cracking final sectors for him.
He's got time for a push lap, which is on at the moment, a cool down lap, and then another push lap.
Yep.
So filled with a bit more fuel than those who are just coming out onto the track now, potentially Charles Leclerc, which obviously will hurt his lap time, and you can see he's quite a bit down in terms of the front row here, and he has backed off. So he'll back off even more, cool down for another 2 laps, and then it's your one shot. And he's got one shot at pole today. The others have got their banker laps in. Charles Leclerc's doing it the hard way.
He is. It's not been a smooth run at all, has it, this Q3? But again, carrying, you could see the lateral load going through the tyres there as it gripped up on the exit of Sandoval. He's up at Casino Square already. And down the hill, you'll watch him just duck around that bump, get the nose in. It's a downhill braking. It's a really tricky braking zone. It's a 19.0 first sector. That is better for Charles Leclerc.
And this is what we were saying this year with these new regulations. You can do multiple push laps if your tyres haven't overheated. And he is attempting multiple push laps. So he's still got time to finish this, cool down and go again, has Charles Leclerc. Let's see how that works out for him. Maybe he does get 2 shots at it. Maybe Ferrari have got this all planned in advance. We're waiting for the rest to start their final laps. That was so committed through the swimming pool chicane for Charles Leclerc, who has found excellent pace in the middle part of the lap.
Yeah, he was really pushing his luck, pushing the car, but it was sticking. It was giving him some speed, a little bit tail happy coming out of the final corner. Over the line he goes, and it is pole, and the crowd are cheering like crazy outside.
It's just like somebody scored a goal in the World Cup final for Monaco. Looking around the grandstands here, everyone on their feet cheering that one. Charles Leclerc is on provisional pole. From nothing to hero in the space of 2 miles. Now we'll start a lap with Oscar Piastri. His final shots at getting somewhere near the front row. Monaco is keeping its fingers crossed, though, that Charles Leclerc can stay exactly where he is.
Top 3 covered by 25 thousandths of a second. But we'll keep an eye on Antonelli and Verstappen. I suspect they've got a little bit more time in their pocket yet if they can get a clean lap in.
We can watch Oscar Piastri through the hairpin. Lando Norris making his way down towards Mirabeau, and the track continues to drop ever more steeply for both McLaren drivers, who have been slightly off the pace for long periods this weekend, but is a top 4 finish in qualifying on the cards for them. Max Verstappen, can he grab a provisional pole? He has gone like lightning through the first sector.
He has an 18.8. That's the best we've seen all afternoon. And Verstappen, we know that he had a bit of a problem in the Rascasse right at the end of his previous lap. If he can get that nice and clean, as we watch the McLaren come through there now of Oscar Piastri, we're waiting to see what Max Verstappen's middle sector is like. He hasn't been through that point yet. Piastri drives for the line.
And Piastri is not going to trouble the top 4. 5th is the best finish for him so far. Verstappen is right on the cusp here. Middle sector slightly slower than Charles Leclerc. Gone slightly ahead as Lando Norris pits from P6. George Russell, first sector for him, best he's done so far in this session. Verstappen to the line, grabs that pole position back again with a 1:12.0. Next across the line, Lewis Hamilton on the front row with Max Verstappen. The old hands might be fighting it out at the front once again, but it's George Russell and Kimi Antonelli that could still change things round once more here in Monaco. To the line we go. George Russell only P6. He lost pace as the lap continued. Leclerc is on one more push lap, and his first sector is right up there with what he needs to dislodge Verstappen or Hamilton from the front row. We've got a yellow flag out on the track, though. Antonelli crosses the line, and he has got pole position. And Charles Leclerc hits the wall as Antonelli takes pole. That, in a Monaco moment, is how it all changes around.
Incredible right rear puncture and some suspension damage, no doubt, for Leclerc. We'll get a replay of that, no doubt, but that's Norris had already pitted anyway, so we've got McLaren down in 7th and 8th. It's to back corner. He loses it. He's got oversteer on the way in, and that's why he clouted the right rear. Back end stepped out on the way into the corner. He kind of had nothing to lose at that point, did he? It was just like, you know, go for gold. And wow, what a performance from the teenager then to seize pole position. We knew Verstappen could go faster. And it's an all Ferrari second row.
Yes, Kimi. Nice work, pal. Good man. Well done.
Woo! Woo! What happened for the lap? Woo!
My man.
The man who was the last classified finisher in Monaco last season returns to the Principality in the lead of the championship and on pole position and going for 5 Grand Prix